Good evening. I'm Bill Robertson. I'm the secondary school principal. I guess our graduation speaker probably does not want me to remind him of this fact, that about 30 years ago this time, he was a graduate of Carroll Morgan School. I guess it may help him a little bit for me to say, as an 8th grade student, since at that time, Carroll Morgan did not have a high school. After finishing at Carroll Morgan, 4 years later, he graduated from Coral Gables High School in Florida. He continued his education until he received his bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Miami School of Business Administration at Coral Gables. He has returned to Santo Domingo. He has become involved as a businessman in national transportation and such related services as manufacturing and financing. He is past president of the American Chamber of Commerce of the Dominican Republic and currently is vice president of the Association of American Chamber of Commerces in Latin America. His association with Carroll Morgan School has not ended with his graduation. He has been the president of the board of directors, and he and his wife Debbie have sent 3 children to Carroll Morgan: Jeff, Jack, and Julie. And today, she is graduating 30 years after her father from the high school. It is with extreme pleasure that I present to you Mr. Jaak Rannik.
Thank you for that very glowing introduction. Dr. Landers, Mrs. Moore, and member of the Carroll Morgan School Board, faculty, parents, and invited guests, members of the 1990 graduating class, good evening. I feel sincerely honored to have been invited by the graduating seniors of the class of 1990 to deliver their commencement address. A few weeks ago, I asked one of the members of this class what I ought to talk about. And he said, "Oh, I don't know. Draw on your years of experience. Tell us a few stories." Can you imagine a kid saying this? "Speak to us of the challenges ahead, the lessons you've learned, and the advice you have for our generation. But keep it under 4 minutes." Seriously, though, it's a genuine pleasure for me to be able to return to Carroll Morgan tonight for more than one reason. I have a special fondness for this institution because this is where my own education began. And this is where my children have learned, but most of all, because I feel very strongly that there is something special about this class of graduating seniors. It has been my pleasure to know many of you since early childhood and to have watched you grow into young adults. And I can sincerely say that you are one of the nicest groups of young people it has been my privilege to know. Moreover, the class of 1990 has been blessed with more than its share of outstanding individuals. In terms of grade point average, SAT scores, and college acceptances, you people are well above average in the Dominican Republic or anywhere else. Tonight is a happy occasion for you and your families. But graduation is more than a rite of passage, a gateway from adolescence to adulthood. It is also a beginning of new responsibilities, initially for yourselves as you begin to make the decisions that up to now your parents have made for you. Later, your responsibilities will grow to include others as you begin to form your own families and as you become active members of society. It may not be too early to say, ladies and gentlemen, that the class of 1990 is destined for greatness. Just as many of these young people have already had leadership roles in their school community, I am equally convinced that some of them may be called upon to participate in the affairs of their community or of their nation, whether that nation be the Dominican Republic or the United States or any of the other countries represented here tonight. Who of us present here tonight can say that among this class of 1990 there is not a future Nobel Prize winner, or a Supreme Court justice, or perhaps the first woman president of the Dominican Republic? None of these things is impossible. The world is changing, and changing faster than at any time in our history. And for the first time in history, nations are being pulled together, whether they want to or not, into one world economy. What this means to all of us is that historical borders will less and less be able to limit the free flow of ideas, of capital, of technology, of goods, of people, or of democracy. Economic borders that divide nations are beginning to collapse everywhere, from Tokyo to Kansas City, from Eastern Europe to the U.S.-Canadian Free Zone, from Jimani to Mayagüez, and from Avenida Bolivar to Brickell Avenue. This is not a failure of society, but growing evidence of the basic economic forces that will unite all people everywhere in the pursuit of a better life. The things that have happened in Europe and China this past year suggest to us that the world just 10 years from now will be a very different place. In less than 100 years, human activity has changed from mainly agricultural, later to industrial, to what it is becoming today, the information age. Communications and computers have made information available at the same instant in all corners of the globe. 30 years ago, Marshall McLuhan predicted the global village, and my generation said, yeah, maybe someday. But people, such a world is knocking on our doorstep today. The magic of it is that in a world which is wired together, ideas know no boundaries, no controls, no restrictions. And wherever there is a free flow of ideas, trade and technology follow, and prosperity inevitably increases as a result of the economic freedoms that people come to demand. In this kind of world, educated people have a tremendous advantage, for truly, knowledge is power. And for this reason, I want to tell you that I think your parents made a smart decision when they put their trust and a lot of their money in a Carol Morgan education for you. While traveling with my son Jeff the year before last, and my daughter Julie this last year, in the process of helping them to decide what schools to apply to, my wife and I had the opportunity of visiting at a number of very fine universities and colleges all over the United States. And I have to tell you, we found that a Carol Morgan diploma is no handicap at all, even at the most competitive of schools. In the Dominican Republic, Carol Morgan graduates are a part of a small and privileged minority. The economic advantages that your parents have permitted them to give you the best education available. And I think that this imposes upon you a certain obligation to society, to use your education for the common good wherever and whenever the opportunity arises. The 20th century visionary Peter Drucker writes in his recent book, The New Realities, that all events in the world, however small, are in the end ultimately interrelated. Drucker goes on to explain that the fastest growing field in modern mathematics is a theory of complexity, which is an attempt to explain mathematically why, for example, existing quantitative methods no longer seem to be able to predict things like the performance of the world economy. As part of this research, a very interesting theorem has evolved. Its mathematical proof shows that a butterfly flapping its wings in the Amazon rainforest will change the weather in Chicago a few weeks later. This has become known as the butterfly effect. And throughout history, huge changes have sometimes been brought about by seemingly isolated actions on the part of individuals very far removed from the seat of power. So whether one of you actually sits in the presidential chair is probably immaterial, because in the kind of world we are becoming, there are hundreds of small ways, just like the butterfly, by which individuals in society, taking small actions, can make a very large difference in the course of history. And I dare say that all of you will have many such opportunities. In your generation, it will become more necessary than ever for people who care about their countries to get involved in politics, to work to improve the standard of education, to get the population explosion under control, to reduce pollution, to save the rainforests, but above all, to work to expand the freedoms that will guarantee all people from all social strata a decent chance in life. The next 20 years may well be critical in determining whether humanity can live together on this planet in relative peace and prosperity. For the first time in all of our lives, the threat of global nuclear war seems to be receding. More new oil is being discovered every day on this planet than is being used. World food production has grown so much that the threat of world starvation has all but disappeared, at least on a massive scale. The scary part of all of this is that although a new age may be dawning in the world, not all countries will benefit equally. Only those societies whose people are educated and possess technical skills and whose borders are open to the free flow of knowledge and trade and capital will be able to integrate successfully into the world of the year 2000. You, as Carroll Morgan graduates, and many of you 4 years from now as graduates of excellent colleges and universities, will be in a very unique position to act as opinion leaders to help ensure that the necessary changes take place in each of our societies. And I'm sure that you will accept that challenge, not only for the common good, but because it makes sense from a personal point of view as well. In the meantime, however, I want to leave you with a few thoughts. Make the most of the next 4 years. Keep an open mind. Read all you can. Don't believe everything your college professors tell you. Ask tough questions, form your own opinions, and don't forget to mix in some fun with all the hard work. Tonight, as you graduate, I would like to congratulate you on all of your achievements and wish you all every success in all of your endeavors. Carroll Morgan School Class of 1990, my best wishes to each and every one of you. Thank you.